to Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. My name is Jackie Zebrowski.
I'm Fizza Dasani.
I'm Paula Vegan-Allen.
I'm Zara Ali. Welcome, Jackie.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me.
You have the best voice.
Thank you.
An amazing voice.
It's fairly raspy, but you know what? It's recognizable.
It is. And you use it because you are on 3 podcasts on the Last Podcast Network.
I'm currently we're doing I've got 2 current podcasts as of right now, but I also do a lot of voiceover work.
Yeah.
We do a lot of commercials
well
and things
deserved.
like that.
Yeah. I was going to say, I just came from the movies before we started recording today, and I think you need to be the movie announcer person. Like,
Please.
please.
Can you say in a world?
In a world.
Oh,
or is that
so
too
good.
much? Is that too
No,
deep?
I think, well, Pablo Francisco, the comedian, he has the whole like bit around like the movie announcer voice and stuff.
yeah.
But like, I feel like you do it so much better.
Thank you very much.
I feel like you could be the movie announcer of our generation.
I want to weasel in there. People always
do
ask,
we-
like, how do you get into voiceover work? I'm like, it takes a lot. It's actual magic.
Yeah.
Random question. Did you have to cultivate this voice, or is it something that...
Were you just born with it?
Yeah, did you always have
I was born this way. Oh, yeah.
Damn, that's good.
Also, years of smoking.
Yeah, I was going to say, I 100% was going to say,
what
I'm
I-
like, say what it is, Jack.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by cultivate.
Yes,
you know?
but I always had a very deep voice, even in
Yeah.
high school, which
Yeah.
is why I always just...
Did
I
you
got,
get made
like,
fun of?
Yeah.
I got made fun of so much for
So
my
much.
voice. So, like, my parents were like, "Does she smoke? Does she smoke?" And I'm like, "I'm 11. Like, what?
I don't.
So
yeah,
why
I
is
sounded
that
like this
deep?
before, too.
When did you start smoking?
When I was like 19.
Okay.
So it's definitely been too much time. But but I did sound like this in middle school and in high school as well. So of course, and I played softball.
Yeah.
And so man, that is just giving people fodder to just make.
my
And I was
goodness.
fat, very very fat. So you know, I it makes you grow.
Yeah.
It's character building. That's what they say. That's what they call it.
I think husky voices are so sexy,
It's
though.
so sexy.
Yeah.
Like, I want my voice to be deep. When I get sick, I just love my voice.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
my throat's sore.
Trying to like submit all your voiceovers.
That's what I want to do all of our podcasts.
Yeah.
When my voice is deep.
You have a raspy voice.
Right into the mic.
Like, my voice is so high.
Yeah, but I also always wanted that though. It's grass is always greener.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Curly
always
hair,
wanted
straight hair.
And I always I was like, I just wish I sounded more like a girl, and which is a horrible, like, sexist thing to
No,
say.
you sound like profound. Like you have something to say.
Thank you.
It's
I actually
great.
yelled at a child on Clearwater Beach last year because he was just like, this boy kept trying to take my pool noodle that I had at the beach because I'm terrified of the
I am
water.
possessive of pool noodles as
Take
well.
my noodle because I'm scared of the water, and
Yeah.
he kept taking it, and then he's like, you sound like a boy, and I was like, well, I make a lot of money on my voice, thanks a lot. Get your own noodle.
Should have just said you ate the last boy who took your poodle.
And I'm gonna
Oh my
rip
God.
your face off.
the voice I'm using right now.
That's great.
But it is sad though in my early 30s that I still get offended by young children making fun of me.
That is so
I think
funny.
it just cuts deep, man.
I love that you're
Bit the
using.
truth.
I love that you're using it to terrorize little boys.
Yeah, man.
Because more little boys need to be terrorized by
Don't
women.
put
You're
me down.
You're just running around going, "What's the definition of consent?"
As I'm swimming after him, but also
Yeah.
crying because I don't have my pool noodle.
I get it, though. One time I got into a sort of a Cold War with a cat.
Ooh.
I
I feel
felt
like all cats are in cold wars with people, right?
no, but like, okay, this one had been abused, and I was feeling particularly vulnerable, and I wanted to pet it, and it freaked out, and I took it personally. And then my friend had to tell me to stop fighting with the cat.
I understand. I had a cat that I was terrified of for a while because it's like my ex had moved out. And the cat loved him more, and the cat had one eye. Her name was Pips, and she was evil. I actually have scars all over my stomach from when she would attack me, when she would hide in things, and then dig her claws into my stomach and not let go.
That's just stretch marks of having your own.
Is that what it is?
Your own fur
Oh my
baby.
God.
You just scratch the shit out of you.
I don't know if you can see it, but I have a Zorro scar on my neck from a cat.
Oh wow! I
She
do
branded
see it.
you.
You can't trust them.
Well, I actually like cats. You know,
I'm fine with cats.
I like cats.
I think I respect them too much, and so I'm just like, you stay over there, and I enjoy your presence, but just let's not interact.
They have boundaries.
Yes.
Cats
They
set their
set
boundaries.
boundaries.
Yes.
You can learn a lot from cats.
Right?
Hell yeah. Hakuna Matata, right?
Hakuna ma fuck it.
Hakuna ma fuck it. Yeah, that's your saying.
I've been trying to figure out how. I think I might get it tattooed on my body, but I was like, do I want to commit to having an obscenity tattooed on my body? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I think I'm that much of trash.
That's her sign off on all of her Instagram captions. Also, sometimes I try to read your Instagram captions, and I'm like, I need a translator. Like, this is a lot, but that's like your culture.
It's my language. Yeah, it's Japanese.
Yeah.
That's what I refer to it as.
So where did you come up with this mantra of yours, this closing statement of Hakuna?
Hakuna ma fuck it.
Yeah.
I actually, Ed Larson from The Brighter Side bought me a T-shirt that said it years and years ago, and it was this T-shirt. It was like when I was at my heaviest, and it was something that like I've now cut down into like shards and like put it together because it's like this is always how I've felt because. You know, I've always been kind of attacked in a lot of ways in my life. And so I want to cultivate, I think, also through the year of straight mushroom intake that I had, that I just wanted to be more peaceful, you know? And Hakuna ma fuck it, I think, is it's like, it means fuck it.
Yeah. Were you microdosing or it was full on shrooms?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
All of it.
Tomato.
But you know what? I'm a lot chiller. I went through anger management for a very long time.
Yeah.
So that was like after a lot of like building of myself and trying to gain control of my anger. And I was like, you know, and also I was dating someone at the time who was like, you should do shrooms all the time. I was like, yeah, you're right, which that's dumb.
So anger management, was that like what brought you to anger management? Did something happen?
What was the
root
root of your anger?
I was a bully. I was a bully in middle school.
Hurt people.
Yeah, but I also was.
I mean, with that voice, there isn't like you need to take a role.
I was also 300 pounds when I was 12 years old. I was almost 300 pounds. So when we moved, my brother and I do comedy together. When we moved from New York to Florida, and everyone was thin and everyone was tan, and we looked the way we looked, and so they would throw food at me every day.
Gosh.
People held me down and like actually shoved food down my mouth, like in front of teachers, and no one ever did anything. And one day I just snapped, and
the teachers never did anything?
No.
What is going on in Florida?
Look,
why does Florida get a pass for like human decency?
It is really insane because
public school, I assume.
It was public school, and also
Florida public school's rough.
And that's just how it was. And they really didn't care. So I kind of snapped, and one day I took one of the girls by the back of the hair and I just smashed her face into a locker over and over again. And then from then on, everyone was terrified.
Did they do something about that? Did you get in trouble for that?
Did I get suspended from school?
You got suspended, but they didn't do anything.
But no one else got any discipline for bullying you for however long that went on.
No, and it was just always that kind of thing too, where their parents had a lot of money and our family didn't have that much money, and it really came down to that. Yeah. And so I would go through like the peer mediation and go through all that, where I'd have to sit down because then the fury was released. So then I was a bully to people that bullied other people, but people were actually legitimately scared of me. So they would sit me down in peer mediation, where you have to sit. I don't know if you've ever had to go through peer mediation.
I was a peer mediator.
And
I was.
I did peer court. Like I was one of the case workers.
I think it's so silly to make someone that is bullying someone sit in a room and talk about your feelings if you have an anger problem, where it's just like, I'm just going to beat the shit out of you after this. Yeah. And that's kind of what it was until I went into anger management.
Yeah. When did you go into anger management?
I was 14.
And then so you said you've grown like a lot from that. What are your like coping strategies? What have you found that's worked for you?
I mean, I'm still in therapy. Yeah. That is now I'm just in a forever therapy. Yeah. But I communicate very effectively. I talk about all of my issues. I am the least passive-aggressive person you will ever meet. I can't hide my feelings, sometimes to a fault, but I don't let myself get to what I used to refer to as the red, when I would just be blind with rage. Yeah. And now
like Red from Us.
You know, oh my God, it's just like us. My life is us.
We were just talking about that movie. Face. Yeah.
But then
is that
now
a spoiler?
No. It's just the name of a character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But now I write in my journal, and I do a lot of breathing exercises. If I get really angry, I'll go into a bathroom or someplace I can be by myself.
So do you still get to that place where you do get triggered to a place where you're very angry? Is that your go-to?
Unfortunately, yeah. Not so much anymore, because I don't put it at other people. Now it's more towards myself.
Anger feels better than sadness.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
But now I deal with sadness overtaking anger, and I almost wish that I was still angry rather than sad.
Yeah.
But I'm also manic depressive, so that just goes with the territory.
High five.
Hell yeah!
When were you diagnosed?
In 2009.
I was.
Oh, you don't know how old I am. I was.
No, you don't have to tell me when. But 20. So it's been about 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Why? How long have you been?
2012.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, it's a lot of life events, right? Right, guys?
Yeah.
They have to deal with they have to hear about my ups and downs.
Oh, there are many ups and downs. Sometimes
Within
it's just
a minute.
for no reason.
Sometimes just within a minute.
Yep.
I'm sad. I'm happy. I'm
Pretty much.
Yeah. So with anger management, so you were in it since you were 14, like, was your family like accepting of that? Like, did they were down for it?
Oh, very much so.
And did they have tools to help you? Did they also like try to seek therapy and figure out how to?
Yeah, which
That's
was
amazing.
great.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Because I don't know. I grew up in a household that didn't really understand what like the talk therapy is.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of going through it now, all of us as grown-ups. So I can appreciate a household that like understands that there is an issue and like you all rally together to fix it through
Right.
therapy and family counseling and all of that.
It did take some time, though,
Yeah.
in the beginning, because, of course, it's the whole, like, there's nothing wrong with my child. She's perfect. She doesn't do anything wrong.
yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah, I think that's hard for parents to accept that. Like,
Yeah.
I think with my quote unquote issues, I think my parents were, at least my father was in denial for a while. It was just it was not palatable to think that your kid's suffering this way or something's wrong. They kind of take it as like a reflection of their parenting.
Exactly. And
Did
they
we
think
fuck
that
up?
they did it to you, even though it's like,
Yeah.
it's just my brain chemicals, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Which is also kind of their fault, you know,
Yeah.
because they've got their genes. So it's not, I mean, it's not entirely like, you know, because they're going through shock because it's like, oh, did I gave this to you. I made you. So some of this is, you know, my fault.
Right.
Yeah.
It was interesting. The Indian community in Utah, there was like a loss. And they didn't say it was suicide, but we think that one of the kids, you know, committed suicide when he was at college. And then I went to a dinner back in Utah, and it was like all these Indian people, but the parents were like much more open to talking about stuff. And they're like, we have to talk about this because we're losing our kids. And it's like it's interesting to watch like our parents' evolution in their lifetime. Like
Right.
where they came from and where they are now is like it's so different. Like I can't even imagine growing up in a world where like you didn't know what a period was. You're just handed a tampon or not even a pad, and then now you have to like come to the realization that like depression is a thing. Like non-physical things are things when you don't even talk about the physical stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, and that's even just my grandmother was severely bipolar, never diagnosed, and was just a nightmare human being that essentially my grandfather just kind of kept in the house and pretended like she just didn't exist.
So many enablers.
Which is insane. So it's like my mom grew up with that where she's like, there's definitely something wrong with mom because she's beating me almost to death.
And then
You
you
know?
have to carry that much shame, you
Yeah.
know, like just being hidden from the world. That's going to really ding you up.
Yeah, and it also is just going to make you go further and further into your own mental illness because no one is accepting or talking about it. So that is just something that is... It's so scary now that even when I think about me having children, that it's like I don't want to pass that on, but at least we do have the tools that past generations didn't have, and the stigma isn't as rough as it used to be.
And you're well versed in it. I think like you can't predict what a kid is going to end up like, what their chemistry is going to end up like, and how they're going to cope. But if you are educated and you know the tools that you have and you're doing everything you can in your lifetime to like help yourself, that's the best like parent for like a kid to go out in the world with, you know? Like,
but also even in the story you were just saying about the parents that are actually like want to start talking now, because I also have had friends that have committed suicide in the past that their parents still are just like, someone did something to them. This has nothing to do with mental. Like we don't need to talk about it. They were just, you know, they
can't cope with it.
They can't cope with it. It was their fault.
adding tragedy to tragedy.
Right.
Yeah. That's really hard to deal with. But it's, I think it's good that we're all talking about it. And you have a brother?
I do, yes.
And you do comedy together, and you both work on the Last Podcast Network together.
Yes, we do. Yeah, my brother works he's on Last Podcast on the Left. His name is Henry Zebrowski, and we've been best friends our entire lives.
That is amazing that you could be best friends with your sibling.
Are you guys super close in age?
Yeah.
Where he's 3 years older than I am.
Okay.
But he even just like, when I moved out here about a year and a half ago, and it was after ending an 11-year relationship, and I was in shambles.
Yeah.
And I was living in New York, and he was like, come out here, come live with me. Why don't you just start your life over again and get out of there?
LA is a good refresh button. I did something similar, leaving New York after a broken heart, after a bunch of things. And I moved out here, and it actually like helped. And then like once you're assimilated and acclimated, you're just like, no, all that stuff that's inside my brain is still there.
Oh, it's still there,
Like
for
that
sure.
stuff never goes away.
But now I'm just trying to not get blackout drunk every single day. I'm actually like going to the gym and doing all the things that LA puts in it.
Yeah. I mean, life's a little easier here in LA than versus the East Coast. So we have the luxury of dealing with existential issues, which is why we're all so sad. We're sad here. It's always sunny and then we're always sad.
New York, though, like everybody warned me that everyone there was an alcoholic, and then I was like, whatever. And then I went there and I got drunk.
Oh yeah,
drunk.
So it happened so quickly.
Yes.
It's just like an easy way to pass the time. And it's like you're working. I mean, it's like a whole like work hard, play harder type of town.
And you're not driving.
You're not driving.
And everything's open so late.
Everything's open till 4 a.m. So yeah, as long as you can make it to work and somewhat of a manageable presence, like you're fine. You could be an alcoholic for decades without dealing with it.
I mean, I was a manager of a bakery for 8 years in Brooklyn. And so I would have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I would be at the bar until 2:30. I'd go sleep, like pass out for just like 45 minutes, get back up, go to work, still drunk, but still doing my job.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one ever said anything. And I'm also drinking with all of my coworkers.
Because
so it's
everybody else is doing the same shit. You're all like being alcoholics together.
There's a manic energy in New York.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like you can. I don't drink much, but like in New York, my tolerance is just I can go.
Yeah.
And then everybody picks a day to crash,
Yes.
Like you have that one day in a week where you just sleep for 19 hours and then you do it again. You do it all over again.
But people don't hang out here the way that they hang out
That's
in
true.
New York. It's very, I'm
isolating.
I'm
So
lonely.
spread out.
I miss the hanging out.
I'm
I do
so
miss
lonely
that.
all the time.
Yeah, like all these girls had the thing where Zara likes to party, and which is like, no, I don't. Like, I just miss the camaraderie that like we had in New York, which is like easy to have because it's like after you share a long day at work, you go out, you like have like a few hours together, and then like you forge relationships better with people out there than
And New York
you can here.
It's a little more compact. Manhattan's an island. Here, it's just like when I moved here, it took me so long to feel like I found a community. And even now I grapple with that because you outgrow stuff. It's just like, okay, well I'm in a
also the
transitional
comedy
phase
community, it's questionable whether, we like each other.
Everything's so like isolating here too. Like everybody's in their car, or it's everything is created to like isolate you in LA, and everybody's working on different projects here. Whereas I feel like in New York, it's like if you're in comedy, it's like mostly comedy, right? And then here, people like when they're not doing comedy, they're like acting and doing these, and so nobody has time for each other here,
right? And I also work in audiobooks and things like that. So all I do is sit in a room and talk to myself most days.
A padded room.
Yeah.
Ooh, it is. Oh, it is bad because I definitely punch sometimes just because I'm just like, I can't listen to the sound of my own voice for another second.
You gotta leave. Do you have like just hours planned out where you leave and get some social interaction?
I think it's part of the reason why I mean, among many other things, of why I can't stop smoking, because it's like the way that like it forces me to leave the studio that is in my home, so that's like I'm just gonna sit out here and get some fresh. I know that you can replace it with other things, but I also like.
And you're in a home studio.
Yes, and I kick like drinking every single day too. So it's like I'm not drinking all the time. I have no other vices. I'm just gonna smoke these cigarettes.
When I was hanging out with you and like all the last podcast network guys, like you guys went out and took like a couple breaks with cigarettes, and I was just like, I'm not used to this.
Oh yeah,
like it's definitely an East. I feel like that's also an East Coast thing. Like even I was in Pittsburgh, which isn't East Coast, but it was like over there, and I would literally like pick days. Like I would decide if I wanted to hang out with my friends or breathe, because I was just like, I can't be around this smoke all the time.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's but got that voice.
Living a die. Living a die.
I don't know.
I love that voice.
Is smoking cigarettes an East Coast thing? I mean, I
no
have
one
friends.
smokes here.
Well, I know no one smokes here because it's LA, it's Hollywood. Everyone's trying to look like 19 years younger than they are.
I think big cities, West Coast, like not as many people smoke as in big cities, East Coast.
Maybe. I mean, that could be it. But like, I have friends from high school who've been smoking since high school. So I don't know if that's an East Coast thing or just, some things that people pick up when they're bad kids and then they just never put it down.
I think it might be that. It's just like, well, also I had a pretty rough speed addiction for about 5 or 6 years. So I think that kind of went hand in hand with things too, of just like, well, if you're doing a bunch of speed, may as well smoke a bunch of cigarettes.
Were you self-medicating with the speed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just, anything that had any kind of upper, I would take lots of.
Okay.
I was just going to ask if you still have the pull to self-medicate.
No.
Oh, wow.
I mean, again, it's very difficult for me to stop smoking cigarettes. So I would say that is more of, in that realm. I definitely use the whole CBD route now, which is really good for me.
LA.
It's very LA, but you got to lean into something.
Yeah.
What, can I ask what your like rock bottom was, like how you got out of it?
It was my college graduation, and actually my older brother he came to my graduation, and it was by far the thinnest I'd ever been, but it wasn't, I was probably around this weight, but I had not eaten in at least like I was just not eating. I had eaten like an apple in the past like 4 days.
Oh my goodness.
And my cheeks were so sunken in and my eyes were just so dark and bloodshot. And I was on like my anger and everything. Like I was either sobbing or screaming. And he just sat me down. And because I was moving to New York to do comedy with Murder Fist, which is the sketch group we started in college. And I continued it after they left. And we did Murder Fist in New York. Mm-hmm. And he's like, if you want to come to New York and do comedy with us, you're gonna stop all the shit. He's like, I won't work with you. I won't talk to you ever again, and I won't work with you ever again. So
intervention.
Pick something.
That's all it took from your
That
brother.
was it.
Is you just needed to say your brother needed to say that.
Yes.
And you were like, all right, I'm gonna change my ways.
And I stopped.
Wow.
I really just I haven't touched any of it since. It was rough. But it was my brother has saved my life multiple times.
How was that withdrawal? You 7 years of speed use?
Real bad. Really, really bad.
How long did it last approximately?
It was about 3 months that I puked, and that was when I graduated college.
First
and moved
trimester.
Home. I mean, essentially, it was bad. It was really bad. And then I gained a bunch of weight back, and it was the whole.
That's got to be so hard for like body dysmorphia with like you're like I'm doing this thing and it's like the weight that I want or whatever, and then you get rid of it, and it's like all this pain, and then also like having to adjust to a new outside. Like that's got to be. So
and
tough.
as for women, when you can like visually see your body's changing and things don't fit you anymore, it like fucks with you in another way.
Oh yeah,
because we have all these other expectations for us as women that we need to be perfect and like people like me better when I'm thinner or whatever. And it's like you're dealing with that. You're dealing with withdrawal. You're dealing with just got out of college, moving to a new city, New York, of all those things.
Oh yeah,
and trying to make it in fucking comedy, which is like the hardest thing in the world.
That's a transition if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, it was really, it was rough. But it is insane though, looking back, where it's like, I really thought I've like almost tried to kill myself in so many different ways.
Intentionally and subconsciously
and
as well.
it's really that now, that's why I think I do the shrug of like, I mean, I still smoke cigarettes and I really shouldn't. But of all the things I used to do and also all the like years of bulimia and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, I am technically still the healthiest I've ever been in my life.
I mean, we all have our vices, you know, and if this is the one vice that you can rationalize,
I guess. But
I'm getting so deep into these questions.
I'm sorry.
Go for it.
No,
I love it.
I'm doing it if that's okay.
Okay,
You tell me when to stop. You said you were in a rough relationship for a while. Did that enable like these hard habits of yours?
Very much so. Because we started dating because we were together for 11 years, and we started dating was when we just did speed together all the time.
Geez.
Wow. So you started dating in college. He was the guy that like you would have speed with.
Yeah.
You started dating and addiction.
Yes, all in one. Yeah. And then outside of that, we would break up every like 3 years, and then I would go fuck everything under the sun, and then I would go back to him and did like that kind of thing. But he was the one that, so after I stopped doing all the speed, then we just became insane alcoholics. Like really,
it's like whack-a-mole.
Really bad.
It's like if you cut one thing out, another thing's gonna pop up. It's like I gotta self-soothe somehow.
Yeah. And so we just fed, and even days that I didn't want to drink, it was the only way we could communicate with each other effectively whatsoever. And even though I can communicate with so many people about my feelings and everything else, I couldn't talk to him about it.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like I take public transit a lot, and there are like all these couples that are on something together and just like causing a ruckus in the cars. And it's like, it's weird because you're like, they're not on our level, but they're definitely on a level together.
Each other's level.
Yeah, you can like see the bond between them, even if it's like that painful or that like toxic.
Do you think it was a trauma bonding with you and your ex?
And I think that it was just the kind of thing that it was easy. So, and we never had to talk about anything. Yeah. So we just didn't. And we just kind of sat in that. And then by the end, he decided he wanted to become poly after being monogamous with me for 11 years. And then I just realized, oh, you're just cheating on me, which is why you're like, but what if we're poly and then we can sleep with other people? And then I was like, oh, no.
But isn't it, I thought when you're polyamorous, like your partners are all like also into each other? Is that not a thing?
No.
I mean, I think they're different paradigms.
Yeah, I guess, maybe there are different paradigms.
You have different, you usually, it depends on the rules that you set up. I've got a lot of poly friends.
Is poly just like,
you're just dating
I guess people. I'm trying to understand, is there a difference between an open relationship and a polyamorous?
Poly is when you're in a relationship with multiple people.
Yeah, so it's okay. If you're open, it's not necessarily a relationship with multiple people. You're like in a relationship with one person, and you can like hook up or whatever you want.
Got it. All
right. But poly indicates that there's like an emotional attachment with multiple as people. Well, and there can be like hierarchical polyamory, like you have your main person and the people
it could be
below.
like a family unit.
Yeah, or they can be involved together.
I'm huge into also polygamy shows. I'm obsessed with polygamy shows.
I grew up in Utah. I have so much to talk about.
Oh my God. There was a lot of the LDS in Florida where we grew up as well. So it was, I'm just obsessed with the idea because I have done a lot of research of like on like sex therapy and relationship therapy and stuff like that. And the idea.
Is it because of this guy? Because this guy wanted to go poly, or that's like your own personal interest?
But you also have a sex podcast, right?
Yeah, I did sex and other human activities.
Marcus, right? Yeah.
And so we talked about that kind of stuff. And I like I'm so intrigued by the idea of being interested in being poly or being polygamous because nowhere can I do that. I am way too much of a jealous human being, and I acknowledge that.
You don't want to share a partner.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I can't. I think I would break through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man if I saw something. Don't touch him.
You turn red. Hey.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I think that there are a lot of people that can do the poly thing, but I've seen so many people just settle for it because they feel like they have to. That I also think for me, I'm like it's the same thing. I'm not like jealous, but I'm like, I know I need a certain level of attention and I want the other person to be ambitious. So if they're ambitious, they only have so much time to spend.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
And that's why that's why I think it's very funny. My boyfriend now, he's like, I can't handle more than one of you. I can't even imagine. He's like, I know I'm a lot of woman. I've got a lot of feelings and I've got a lot of things to say. And if you've got the time, exactly like you just said, if you've got the time to handle more than one person, good on you. But how are you building a career in any way, shape, or form?
But what if
meaningful relationship?
I mean, maybe if you were ever in this scenario where you had feelings for another person, you like really strong feelings for another person, and you didn't necessarily want to let that person go, and that person who you're with, they were okay with being, the side chick or whatever,
right?
And with that, would you ever consider it in that scenario?
I think I'm too loyal. Okay. I am weirdly enough.
We're about to bring out the side.
Yeah. Okay. I've got to fuck him in front of you guys. All right. I'm here. I'm ready for it. I'll figure it out. I think that I'm too loyal of a person, and I actually do kind of most of my career is based on me talking about how much I want to fuck celebrities. However, I'm very open of the idea that like if I was attracted to someone that's not my partner, I can't act on it. There's not a fiber in my being that is able to act on it.
I think I would feel too
You don't even
guilty.
want to.
No.
Weird.
So who are your top 3 celebrities here?
Well, who's the hall passes?
Oscar Isaac.
Oh.
Jason Momoa, even though he's very, very dumb and really not a good actor, but I don't really
Why do you
care.
think? Have you met him? Do you know if he's dumb or not?
Yeah, he's definitely dumb.
Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely dumb. But
He's so hot
But
though.
he's
he's also
Nice.
married to Lisa Bonet. So can you
know.
imagine the sex that they
Did you-
have?
Did you see they just did an interview where they're on the red carpet and like this white lady, Ashley something,
Ashley Graham, the model.
asked
yeah.
him to do, what was
The
it?
haka.
The haka traditional like dance and
yeah.
and he was like about to do it and Lisa Bonet was like, no. She's like, people of color are not going to dance for you. Like she didn't say that, but that was like, it was such a shutdown.
So great.
But it also makes sense because I felt bad though for Ashley Graham, I will say, just because it's like she's kind of a ditzy model. It's like she doesn't know what she's doing. She was asking all celebrities to dance for her.
Wait,
So it
Ashley
was-
Graham is doing like interviews
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, she has a podcast or like a web series.
I knew she had like something going on, but like, so is she not acting? Like, what's her deal?
I don't know what she's doing.
She's out
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
She's
Alright.
doing her thing.
She's doing her
She's
thing.
taking the personality lane.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I mean, it's a great personality,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. That's
I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, I would definitely like put my face in her breasts at least for a minute.
Actually, yeah.
number
she's
three?
very
Also
pretty.
on
Yeah,
the
I
page.
know, yeah, maybe she's
Ashley
Ashley
Graham,
Number
gotcha.
three. There you
I've
go.
had my times in college. I mean, you know,
Okay.
if people call you a lesbian long enough, you're just like, well, I may as well try it. I'm hanging out with the rugby team at Florida State, the female rugby team, and they're all just such attractive women, and they all like me. I may as well try.
You went to FSU, so you lived in Tallahassee.
Yes.
How is that?
How is Northern Florida?
It is-
How is South Georgia, rather?
It's South Georgia.
Yeah.
It is. It
Yeah.
is hick country.
I've been to
Yeah.
Tallahassee, man.
Oh, what were you doing in town? Were you doing shows?
No, this is when I was a kid. We had like a field trip or something.
Oh man, it's a rough town because it's Florida State and also FAMU is in the same
Yeah.
city. So it's just there's a lot of fighting,
Yeah.
because it's just a lot
There's
of
a lot of college
backwards
kids,
thinking,
yeah.
and I mean, it's especially they usually line it up because they like the drama of the FAMU homecoming versus the Florida State homecoming is usually in the same year, and there would just be open fights.
So that's like
in the
almost
street.
like, does that look like a race war?
Yes.
Because
And you
FAMU is
wouldn't leave-
HBCU historically back.
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where Mateen Stewart went to FAMU, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
shit.
So that's insane. So there was a rivalry, but I mean, when you look at it from the outside,
very scary.
yeah.
Very, very scary and a lot of hate, and there was just no reason for it. So we would just like, we're theater kids. So it's like, I'm just gonna get a keg and just post up in my house and we'll see y'all next week. Because I didn't care about sports or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's scary.
Very scary.
Did you feel like you grew up like did you feel like you were in like a diverse group of friends, or did that like do you feel like that happened like later on in your life? Or
I would say that growing up, because we grew up in Queens, so it's like we had a very diverse.
was born
group
in
of friends.
Queens.
Dude. I love Queens.
New York.
I mean, so that's why we. That's
Were
why
you
we
born
went
in
back.
Queens?
Yeah, born in Queens.
Elmhurst?
Hell yeah!
Me too! Oh my God!
Yeah, hospital sisters.
Yay!
So yeah, so
anybody born in Lubbock, Texas?
no.
Okay, well I'll be over here.
But in Florida, we had the only person of color we had in our entire high school was one black guy. And that was it.
Which city did you grow up in?
Palm Harbor, Florida.
Where's Palm Harbor?
It's like by Clearwater area.
Oh, like or Central Florida.
Central Florida,
Yeah.
but on the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's more of like country club.
I'm from Fort Myers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like 3 hours
Yeah.
north of there.
I feel like we've talked about the geography of Florida so much on this podcast, and I still have no idea.
It's so big.
a long-
It's
so big.
massive.
It takes
is massive.
8 hours. It's an 8-hour drive to get from the tip to the base of the.
It is
state.
massive.
I feel the same way about California, though. Someone
penis.
invited
Yeah.
me to do a show in Sacramento. I was like, hell yeah. And I was like, oh, that's far from here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could get
People
there.
like ask me to like go do shows in San Francisco, and they're like, "Yeah, you want to drive with us?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, 7 hours in a car with male comedians.
that's hell.
Maybe on the way back, I'll be
Yes.
sleeping. You guys,
I've done that.
drive.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So you went through culture shock when you moved from Queens to Florida?
Very much
Right?
so, because that was the thing, too. It's like, I
Queens
mean...
is so diverse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I also, it's like, I did the lip liner, like my hair was
Oh my
like
goodness.
gel crunch, like, and so that's also part of the reason why I would get made fun of, because like they didn't understand.
You were a kid from the Queens.
Yeah, and they're like,
that's-
you are, it's like, because it's like, you're not a Latina girl. And I was like, you're right, but I am an Italian girl that grew up in Queens. So kind of is the same thing where I come from, because I'm not like, we weren't raised, we were like appropriating a culture. It's like, that's just how
That's just
all
the
my
culture.
friends, it's like, that's just what we did.
That was your
So
culture.
It was my culture.
You know, funny enough, I look like that in middle school because
Right?
that's what like J-Lo looked like. That's what we all
Exactly.
look. We all wanted to look like J-Lo. And every time I'd leave the house, my dad was like, "Oh, so you're Maria now? You're just gonna be Maria. Should I just call you Maria?" I'm like, "What?"
Zara, did you have the lip liner?
I had the lip. I mean,
What color was
Big
your lip liner?
hoops.
Was
My
it
lip-
darker than the rest of your lip?
Yes, it was
I
brown,
can't.
and then I
Got
had it
to.
on like nude
Oh,
chapstick
yeah,
and
baby.
whatever. It was great. And then I would like wear bandanas around my neck, and I had like a vest. I had the silver chain going.
Oh my God, I did have a
cargo
furry vest or
pants, like the
two.
wide cargo pants.
I had cargo
you know?
pants capris that I
Yes,
loved.
me too. Oh, my
yeah.
goodness. Oh,
It was a rough time
This
for
is all
fashion.
like East Coast fashion.
It is.
This is like the year that like
Cargo
Biggie.
pants,
This
just
is
carrying
like
the baggage.
it was when like the East Coast West Coast rivalry was happening, all that shit.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's it was, you know, that's what was out there.
Yeah. And that's it. But that's why it was just such a culture. Like, we hated Florida. And I still don't necessarily enjoy it. I mean, it's beautiful, but there's just
is
nothing
pretty.
to do. And other than that, it's like, I'll go see my parents for 3 days and then we come back.
You can
to
do 3.
cities.
See, 2 is when I think 2.5 around that time, like around the what is it, the 40th hour is when I'm like, I gotta go.
I gotta get out
Yeah.
of here. Are you? Wait, so are your parents still in Florida?
Yeah, Fort Myers still. Same house I grew up in.
Yeah, my
flashbacks.
mom finally took down my Legolas cutout that I had in my room. That like the mouth was almost completely kissed through. 'cause I kissed it every night.
Of who?
Of Legolas from Lord of the
Oh
Rings.
my God.
I was just, I had an argument with someone just recently where I was just asking them to name like people of color in movies that weren't villains. And like, I was like talking about Lord of the Rings because I loved Lord of the Rings. Like that was
Yeah.
my shit. I read it before all the movies came out.
Yeah.
Watched all the movies, but still we would just be orcs. like,
Yeah.
I would like, we'd still just be orcs. And then they were like, well, what if there was like an elf, like orc thing? And I was like, those are Uruk-hai. They're also dark. Like,
Yeah, all
they're
the
all we've
evil.
got.
Legolas was a fairy, right? And they
No,
were,
he was an elf.
Yeah.
or no, oh, they were okay, and they're all blonde.
Please,
They're all-
he was an elf.
No,
My bad.
no. Liv Tyler's character and the father had brunette, but it was all very light skinned.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they tried to like appease brown people by putting in like some background hobbits.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we got some in here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was reading all these forums on it yesterday because it was like in my mind. I was like, I love that movie those movies so much, and still I wouldn't be able to be.
You know? No.
I know.
I'm sorry,
So
though.
you're a huge nerd with like all of that stuff, or
Not really. I actually just did on last podcast network. I sat in for on the Wizard and the Bruiser, which is like the nerd podcast about Harry Potter, because that's about the only thing in nerd culture that I know a lot about.
you read all the books, watched all the movies.
Yeah.
Why am
and
I not
just-
surprised there's a whole podcast dedicated to Harry Potter?
Oh, I'm sure there's
there must
many.
be
Oh,
multiple.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are multiple.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this one is just like, this is all just nerd culture in general. So every
Okay.
episode like is about like, they get in depth
Yeah.
about different.
So you got into
About different
Harry
sci-fi movies.
Yeah, and like
different,
different like
but-
animes
yeah.
and different all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I don't know all about a lot of those things because my older brother was way more into that
Anime
stuff.
and
And
stuff?
so of course I was just like, you suck, you're an idiot. And like I would beg to be a part of their Dungeons and Dragons games, and I was allowed to be soda girl.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
could
that.
vary the sodas to them, and I wasn't allowed to play. But that was definitely more of a sister thing than I think.
I
of
have
like
the
a-
little sister thing too. I have an older
Yeah.
brother. I was always trying to get in.
just please. And now that I've played a few times with him, and I was like, man, this is like, I thought it was like the coolest thing of all time that they were doing. And I was like, y'all were just making up stories.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. Why
That's the
couldn't I
best
make
part.
up stories? I want to make up stories.
You would have been a great DM. It would
Yeah.
have been great.
You know? But now I actually play them as an adult because my boyfriend is actually also a very big nerd. So I've been getting into it and learning about it.
D&D.
No, what is it called? Shadowrun. Shadowrunners. It's like it's set in the future, and basically like people are becoming cyborgs. So you have different kinds of like, it's like my name is Bunchies, and I'm 78 years old, but no one can see me because it's like so I can charm anyone into getting anywhere because they're like, she's an old woman.
but
Don't
you're,
worry
so
about
you're
it.
an invisible old lady?
I'm not invisible.
That's like every old lady in Hollywood. She's invisible.
Exactly.
you
That's the
know?
whole thing. Except that she's a big drug maker, and and she's got a cyborg arm, and she keeps darts of all different kinds of things in her arm so she can get into any situation because no one pays attention to her, and then goes in and just murders the fuck out of
she uses her cyborg arm as storage.
Yeah, dude.
That's so tight.
That's dope.
I like my character.
You get into it.
I feel like Comic-Con must be a very special time for.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go
you.
so bad.
Ooh, I've been to
It's
SD
interesting.
Comic-Con.
I want to go so bad.
That's where I passed out in the convention center.
San Diego?
Those were my drug years.
Wait,
Oh,
you,
gotcha.
you literally fainted at a Comic-Con?
Yeah, I
in San
passed
Diego?
out. Well, because there was no food and I was sleeping on a boat. It was a weird thing.
That sounds like a time.
Sleeping on a boat sounds like
It was like a
fun
fancy
story.
little boat, but
okay.
I'm
so you were on a yacht.
I was on a yacht.
You were on a yacht. You can
But
tell
there was
people
no.
you were on a yacht.
It wasn't my yacht. There was no food, so all I had was an edible, a weed edible,
Oh,
and they
I'll do
told
it.
me it was strong, and I was starving, and it was delicious, and I didn't drink a lot of water, and I was probably
do
on a
it.
lot of drugs.
That'll do it.
So they called the ambulance, and I still owe like one of the hospitals $4,000.
Oh,
They can go get fucked.
It's like a second tier debt, so I just was like, oh fuck it.
Yeah. I'll
It'll
be
clear
fine.
up, but yeah. So
Can
every
you
time.
just eat your edible and faint in peace? Like, why does the ambulance need
Don't
to get
take me
involved?
away. I'll be
Why?
fine.
Why?
I was out for like 60 seconds, so they were
That's
like
a
people
while.
were scared.
Oh, that's very scary.
That is long.
Yeah, and then like I think when you ingest weed as like an edible, you can have hallucinogenic effects. So I was tripping too.
Wow.
I remember being in like the ambulance and I was like, this is VIP. They gave me a blanket and everything. I didn't know they were going to send me a $2,000 bill because my insurance is garbage. And then they didn't take me to ER. They took me to urgent care, which my insurance did not cover.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If they're going to put you in an ambulance, why would they
to the
take you to
ER.
urgent care? Why? That makes zero sense.
Because it makes money for them.
Yeah.
Like,
Man, I was talking to an Uber driver the other day because I had asked him, I was making jokes about me giving birth in the back seat because I like to joke around about being one of those people that like I don't know I'm pregnant and all of a sudden I have like a 9-month pregnant. It's like I was like, oh
so
God.
funny.
And
I still don't believe that show. I don't believe the premise of that show.
But it's still a very big fear of mine. What if it's just like I'm
What if
8
you're
months
pregnant and you
I
don't
didn't know? So it's very scary. So
I mean, your body tells you if you're pregnant.
I
you know.
guess.
I mean,
don't
some people
know.
keep their period during their pregnancy
I also
for like 6
I have an
months.
IUD, so I don't have a
that.
period. I
think
don't
most
haven't
people
had
do
one.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So then how would
Wait,
you know?
with an IUD, you never? I thought you still get a period.
Not
at
the one
some
I
point.
got. I got jumbo hormones up inside of me.
Snap.
Jumbo hormones, TM.
But they were saying that that Uber drivers
munchies.
have to pick up people that don't want to have to pay
Yeah,
for an
yeah,
I've done
ambulance
that
a lot.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've taken an Uber to the emergency room before
Yeah, yeah.
because I'm like, the
Smarter.
ambulance is going to cost me more than this $7 Uber ride.
Yeah.
They have to have like emergency tarps in the back.
Yeah. And you know what? It's easier and faster because if you call an ambulance, you might die before the ambulance comes, especially in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and I want to die in the back of Carol's car and she can't figure out the GPS. I want it to
so-
be personal. I want Carol to know where I live and
Speaking
not
of-
take me to the hospital
Okay.
and teach me about her grandchildren and ask me what ethnicity I am. That's how I want to die.
Hell yeah.
And also, I don't want to. So
I thought you wanted to die on heroin.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
really old.
That's true. I want to do heroin.
Like Little Miss Sunshine?
I don't remember. I want to do heroin and then come down from it and then have like a regular natural death. Like, 'cause
Which
I
is
wanna
also
have,
a high.
Yeah, I want to compare the highs right before I go.
Hell
Greedy,
yeah.
greedy,
That's good.
greedy.
I want it. I
But
want
then
it.
how are you going to document it?
I don't need to document it. It's for my brain. It's
But
for
like, I
me.
feel like as a scientist, you would want someone to be there to document how this is going.
Right.
Nah, bitch,
You
that
know?
one's for me. I'm dying by myself.
Okay.
I want to be alone and peaceful.
You're not dying for science. Got it.
Dudes online that are bitter.
But are you
just
donating
like,
your body?
Oh hell yeah! I mean, if they want it after the heroin.
Yeah,
But
I
if-
mean, I feel like that's a selfish way to go, you
Yeah.
know, like as a scientist, you know.
No, you can use like your eyes or something, right? Even if
bitch,
you're
I don't care. I've been in science for so long. Use my work. I'm tired.
Don't use your body.
I think that's why when guys online are like angry at me for the shit that I post because I say a lot of shit about men and they're like, you're just gonna die alone. You don't settle for anybody. And I was like, fucking yeah, that's what I want to do.
That's exactly what I
want to be by
want.
myself.
we all die alone. Like that's, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I was
You
gonna
know.
say if like some kid is walking around, they see you in a bodies exhibit, like
Yeah.
70 years
I'd be
from now.
so fucking pissed. I'd be so mad because
Dude, like, I worked so hard.
Bodies
Dude, I went to
use
one,
it.
and they were-
I
they-
went gone to one too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they literally had two bodies doing intercourse, so you could see like the penis inside, and it's just like, oh, I mean, it's
Yo,
educational.
actually,
but
I'd be fine if I died fucking.
Wait,
Like,
hold on.
Oh yeah.
Is
probably had
it,
to
preserve my body afterwards.
open that
You're like,
shit up.
That bitch fucks even in the afterlife.
yeah, but you're not wet though.
Still
You're not
coming.
wet. How did they get it in there?
I know, it seems terrible.
How did they find that? Did they do that after?
Yeah.
No, they 100% do that.
Oh my God, I wish I could
position
just
all
They
of
died
them after.
fucking
They
in
died
the
fucking, and they're like, don't move them. This is how they wanted to.
This is how I want to die.
That's like the epitome of like coming at the same time. It's like dying at the same time while fucking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
that's
Goals.
the love that I
is
want.
Relationship
That's
goals.
what the Notebook really needed.
That's exactly what I thought of.
James
Like,
Garden
that's
just climbs on top of her.
and they fucking die at the same time.
That's
It's not
a great way to
necrophilia
go.
if you're both dead.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
If you did it at the same time.
But then you both have to die at the same time because if it was like there was
But
a
that's
minute
how hard
difference,
you come. You come so
Yeah,
hard, you die.
Like, what if you both just...
You've hit the apex. There's nothing left.
I
This
mean,
is
at
it.
that point,
I'm ready for my next life. Just
I'm out. Yeah.
it is very common.
Jenum. The
God.
next Jenum coming.
everything pales in comparison to this one come I'm dead.
Maybe that's what my life is leading up to. Maybe that's what all this is for. Just to come hard with someone that I love and die at the same time.
Man, that sounds great. I want to put that in my will. It's like if I don't die fucking, just insert something into
Yeah.
me so it looks like
I just
at
want the
least
kids
she
to think
came.
I'm cool.
She came to
At
death.
least she came. We should
Die
ask
doing
people-
what she fucked.
You don't even specify what you want stuck under there. Just something that makes me come.
Oh man.
We'll bury you with your vibrator. They're either
Oh yeah. Oh, don't
Anything
worry,
with a
it's
slight
never-
curve. It'll
Oh
be
yeah,
fine.
it'll be
That's
fine.
fine.
I've tried a bonsai tree before. They're not fun.
Stop it.
pull that shit out
How?
See, I didn't put it all the way inside and more just like rubbed on it in between my
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
legs. Yeah, and so then I tried.
I mean, have we not all trimmed a
That's
bonsai
the
tree that
thing.
way?
I tried to put it inside of me a little bit, but it was just too bristly.
How old were you? It was too
Like 11,
bristly.
yeah.
It was too bristly.
You're experimenting. You didn't know your orientation yet.
With a notebook, she was like, bonsai tree, too bristly.
Seriously.
Names I can't fuck.
Just right.
I would love to read your diaries.
Oh my goodness. See, at least
Oh,
she's documenting
so you
things.
really meant it when you said Hakuna ma fuck it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
All right, I think we should wrap up.
A good one to
circle.
go out on.
Full
No, I
circle.
think dying while coming is a good way to go out on.
Yeah, man. Oh, now I
Does
gotta figure out a way
does
to-
any of your sketch comedy focus around like dying while coming? Or
I'm sure that it does. We did sketch for about 10 years. So
Wow.
we've got thousands of sketches that we've written. So I'm sure there's something in there, but it's also why like part of my brain is all screwed up because I also played my brother's wife many, many times.
Oh, no.
We just don't touch
Okay, good.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
in general.
Yeah. So we have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
One of our questions is, who is your favorite South Asian celebrity?
Ooh.
So I'll just tell you the country. You know the country. Well, India, Pakistan,
Yeah.
Bangladesh.
She's from Queens. She knows.
Oh yeah, I know. I know the countries. I'm just
She's
trying
like
to
Jennifer
think.
Lopez.
I want Jenny. She's from the block, right?
Yeah, she's from the Bronx. Yeah.
on the 6.
Yeah, that's the,
I
that's
can't
the
think
one
of
line
any
that goes with
names.
there.
Hassan Minaj, Aziz Ansari, Mindy Kaling,
Not Aziz. I'm sorry.
Hari
That's for
Kondabolu.
sure.
Oh,
I do
snap.
love Mindy Kaling though. Or why is that bad to say? Am I not allowed to say that?
No, it's just like I just
no
feel
wrong
such
answer.
a connection with you right now
Oh,
because we
okay.
have so many things in common, including mutual dislike.
Yeah, it's that's a whole other fucking ball game. Mindy Kaling, I'm absolutely obsessed with.
Yay.
I've read her books. Also, her
Yeah.
audiobook is fucking amazing.
Her
and you
audiobook
should
is
check
actually
it out
very good.
because
Yeah.
it's also just watching someone that went from like a sketch background as well into being what she is, not only like a producer, a writer, an actress, that she can do
She's
all
fucking
of
friends
it.
with Oprah.
And it's insane though, the fact that she's also like slamming out kids and having like, she's doing everything that I've ever wanted
And she's
to
so
do
chill.
in life. And I don't understand how, because I've watched many interviews with her and I know a bunch of people that have worked with her and everyone's just like, she actually is just as chill as you would imagine her to be.
I saw that she has time for brunch. How do you have time for brunch?
Dude, if you love brunch, you make time for brunch. You know,
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying.
Did you see her brother? Do you know what her brother's deal is?
No.
Her brother pretended to be black to get into med school. He like cut his eyelashes, shaved his head, and then he wrote a book about it. And then he started a company to get kids into med school after he dropped out. So he took someone's position, and then he like dropped out of med school because it all came out. It was like a Rachel Dolezal moment.
Whoa.
But she she like had a falling out with him because of all that. Like and then he brought her name into his book or something. I don't know. But they're not like on the same page about this, obviously.
So they're estranged.
But he's famous for other reasons. I don't know if they're still estranged, but
are you saying that Indians invented this whole like college cheating scandal and now Aunt Becky's just getting blamed for it? Like,
man, the fact that she's getting sued for $500 billion.
Is it billion?
That's a
billion.
That's a
her individually, or it's a class action?
She is getting by one person, one mother whose son didn't get into like the Ivy League schools that he applied to, even though her son had a 4.2. I had a 4.8 and I barely got into Tisch. You know what I mean? It's like, that's ridiculous.
Where'd that number come from?
I don't know. They just made it up because she decided to put together all of the money that her son could have made over time, which also $500 billion.
That's a lot.
Like,
you know what? Mark Zuckerberg dropped out and he did fine.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
So I just
We're
feel
not
like
all Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Okay, but you would have to be so exceptional, to get to 500 billion when there's people who have, like lower or higher IQs that aren't making that. So or higher GPAs or whatever.
Yeah. But it's just, it is, I think that all of that is, I mean, it's ridiculous. I also don't even, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop any rich people.
They're going to find another way to do it.
Regardless of color, regardless of gender, regardless of anything. It's like rich people are always going to be shitheads, no matter what. And they're going to pay to get whatever they want, no matter what. But that's just how it's going to happen.
There were quite a few parents, though, so why target Becky?
Well, it's because they were celebrities. That's the only reason they put
a couple celebrities.
They target
Hoffman.
they put them in the headlines because they're celebrities, and that's why they also put USC in the headline, because USC, I go there. It's not an Ivy League school. Like
it's not an Ivy League school, but a lot of celebrities' kids go there.
That's what I'm saying.
So they have the
Aunt
money.
Becky's daughter went there and she dropped out. I was getting all the USC emails that are like, "We're a victim in this. We haven't been prosecuted."
I mean,
And then they were like, "We're gonna deal with this," and they put out all these things. And and the only reason they were like highlighted is because it's Southern California. All the celebrities' kids go there.
Yeah.
So Mindy Kaling.
Yes.
Long story short. Mindy
Kaling, our favorite South Asian celebrity.
Last question. So this is a safe space.
Okay.
We often get asked like,
do you believe us?
Oh God, I think so.
Don't worry.
We often get asked like dumb questions about our ethnicity, and so we want to know if you have any questions that you might feel too embarrassed or like cautious to ask, but it's like, this is your opportunity.
It's a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
We're very open-minded in this segment.
I mean,
in this segment.
What kind of question? Like, I can't even imagine a question that I wouldn't feel comfortable
well, you
asking.
also you were raised in Queens. Or
I feel like you've been exposed to so much of it that you may not have questions that you don't have answers to.
Well, having been around a lot of South Asians, were there any questions you overheard that were
super dumb?
That were very upsetting.
Or just, ignorant.
I mean, it was something that like happened, I feel like a lot with like my friends, especially in Queens, was like how not just like any person that was diverse smelled different than they did. And that was always an interesting thing that I remember a friend of mine asked, like, what does your mom cook? What is it, like skunk or something? Why do you always smell different than the way we smell? Which is ridiculous because like my mom is like Italian.
yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I'm covered in butter and cheese at all times, and no one's asking me these
And there's
fucking
also
questions.
like fried onions and herbs and a lot of things going on in that kitchen too.
Yeah, and it's just like I feel like that was always an issue that like that was something that, but those was the kind of things that I never understood, like how you could even ask someone that question of like what kind of did you guys ever get asked that question of like what kind of food do your parents make?
There's definitely the stereotype of the
smelling like curry,
dirty. That's
well, I would get made fun of. Like I was so afraid to eat sometimes whenever like my mom would send me like kebabs or whatever because they're like, oh, she's eating poop. I'm like, it's kebabs. It's like
kebabs.
what? Like I'm sure they all feel dumb and stupid now because like Middle Eastern Mediterranean food is like very in right now. But it's like you're like bullying a child so she's afraid to eat in front of you like during lunchtime. Like that's not okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean,
I take that seriously
in a very different way. But it's like my mom would pack actual like chicken parmesan like in a big Tupperware for me to
And
take.
that's totally okay.
But that's still considered like American food.
Yeah.
I still
because
got
it's
made fun of though because it wasn't a sandwich and because because we couldn't afford for me to like get food in the lunchroom.
Oh, no
and things
way.
like that.
No
So
way
it's
were
like,
we just getting food in the lunchroom.
No, I was
crazy.
sent with
So
food.
that's like that. Like I became like really like not so much a bully, but like no one fucked with me because I would like make them feel horrible about themselves. Like
Yeah.
I'd be like, why don't you just go eat your poor peanut butter sandwich that your
fucking
stepmom
idiot.
made because your mom hates you and left. You know. So yeah, sorry, that triggered me. That
Get
whole
it-
like food like it
Get
triggered
it out,
me
girl.
because
That's
you know,
wrong.
Yeah,
understand.
it was definitely a thing.
Or
So thank you for bringing that
It's
up.
hurtful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I mean, all the cool kids ate like tater tots from the cafeteria, right? That was like the thing.
dude,
Buy lunch,
tater
get the
tots were
pizza.
fire.
I always wanted to be able to get the lunch,
Tots
which is
fit.
ridiculous. Like the food I had was
Way better.
delicious.
So much better
Yeah.
than the tater tots.
Yeah, but I would still get shit
Grass
for
is
it.
right.
Well, I guess it's like you're carrying around the lunch for like hours before you get to lunch. So
Yeah, it is definitely because then I would smell.
you know what? People are cranky when they're hungry. Maybe they smell this delicious food and they're just hungry.
That's probably
That
what
could
it
be
is.
it.
yeah.
That could
I'm
be it.
hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Where can we find you online?
You can follow me on Instagram at Jack That Worm. You can look me up on the last podcast network. My big show is called Page 7. It's we do like pop culture news as well as it's more of like a big fun sleepover more than
Cool.
anything.
Yay.
And soon we'll be having a bunch of other new stuff coming out of the LPN world, which will be a lot of fun, and possibly a reboot of Sex and Other Human Activities, which was my sex and mental health advice podcast.
Cool.
So cool.
Very cool.
Are you still doing the roundtable one?
No, not as of right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And our socials are Facial Recognition Comedy on Instagram and Facebook, Facial Rec Comedy on Twitter, facialrecognitioncomedy.com. I'm Fizadasani, FIZAADOSANI on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, fizadasani.com.
I'm Paula Viganalan, PALLAVIGUNALAN on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and that's also my website.
And I'm really Zara on all the things. Zara is spelled ZAHRA.
And you can see us at West Side Comedy Theater every month in Santa Monica, the second Sunday at 9 p.m. And New York and OC, keep an eye out. We are going to bring our shows there again.
And we got merch, we got shirts.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you guys.
much.
Thank you guys so much for having me.